Hi everybody, thanks for joining Create with Dee. Today we'll be making a mini album, and for right now it's going to be a mystery of what I use to wrap our designer paper around. But this mini album allows for plenty of surfaces to decorate, and the compartments each will house a tag that you can pull out and, add some writing, stamp a sentiment, maybe put a photo on. There's our Mrs. Claus, so see my video on how to make her. Again, just lots and lots of surfaces to decorate with this mini album. So let's get started. Just one second. So what we're going to need to make our mini album is, you won't believe this, you guys, but we're actually going to use toilet rolls. So these, you go ahead and collect as many of these as what you need. And what I did is I collapsed them and I wrapped rubber bands around them to make them nice and flat. Okay, so for this example, we're using 3. And so I'll show you how to make one of these. Okay, so again, it's the secret to this mini album is toilet paper rolls. Okay, so for the size of the paper that you're going to need, you're going to need, this is the length and this is the width. And so for the length of it, you need the length of it, or the length of the paper plus 1. So this is 4 inches, so that my paper's 5. And then you take the width, this is 2.5, and you double it and add an inch. So this is 2.5 times 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay, so for my roll paper, I'm going to need a 5x6 piece of designer paper to put around it. And since this is kind of bulky and everything, we definitely want to use our Tombow glue. Okay, so so a 5x6 is going to wrap it around. And then to make the tag on the inside, mine that I cut is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I rounded off the edges. And then we'll use the curly label to make a little accent on the end of the tag. Okay, so what we'll do first is we'll wrap our toilet paper roll, and it just cracks me up, you guys, to say it, but that's what it is. Okay, a lot of times when we wrap things, we're scoring and everything. The beauty of this is that it's a lot of just folding. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of eyeball about maybe leaving a 1/2 inch up at the top and center my roll. And what I'm going to do is fold this over and fold it over again. And this is going to give us our approximate crease lines. Okay? And then what we want to do next is we're going to trim where our folds meet the paper roll. So we're just going to make a snip in it, because these edges we're going to tuck inside. Okay, so I'm going to come back around. Again, I'm cutting it up to the paper roll. Okay, and for this, and I just kind of always hang on to the toilet paper roll here, and I'm going to need to come in at an angle, and I find that they just tuck better if you take out this little corner. Okay, so I'm just going to come in at an angle again and cut that out. So on this side here, again, coming in and getting that little notch. Flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Is going to come in and get my notch out, and come in and get my notch out. This is just going to make folding that in a whole lot easier. Okay, maybe I'll do this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to tuck these 2 edges on the inside. And I'm going to actually fold these forward first to kind of get a crease going to tuck them in. And taking the Tombow glue, I'm going to make a little bead. Oops, that's a lot of a bead. Take a little bead at the top of each of them. Okay, and then I'm going to angle this just so I can get at it just a little easier. We're going to tuck that flap in, press it down. come over to the other side and tuck that flap in. So by cutting these little flaps in, what you're going to do is bring that designer paper on the inside just a little bit so that no one sees the, the brown cardstock, or cardboard, I should say, of the toilet paper roll. Okay, and then what I found for me that I liked, it's a little variation on the instructions I found. I just like snipping this little tail piece off too. So I'm going to snip that straight off, come back again and turn that and snip that off as well. So after I tuck those two in, I snip that off straight. The next thing after we have the insides flap glued down is we're going to glue on the top flap. And again, we'll get a little bead of Tombow going, and my hand keeps getting in the light. I'm just going to swirl that around. I'm going to put a couple of dots maybe on the cardboard here as well. And we're going to tuck down this top flap. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm ready to work on this side here. And the instructions called for, again, to take the length of it +1, but I find that I need to trim it up just a little bit because I want this edge to end up here. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit. I'll trim off a little bit at a time until I get it to hit where I want. I think I need just a little bit more off than that. So the instructions I found for this, you guys, it said again to take the length +1 inch. But, I like it how it looks like that with wrapping it up on this side of it, or matching it up. So I trimmed off maybe less than 1/4 inch on that. Okay. So now we're ready to put down some more glue. Whoops. And I'm putting some down on this flap here first, and then I'm going to trim off just a little bit up here again like we did on before, so I'm not going to quite go coast to coast with the glue, with our Tombow. Okay, so again we're going to put that all the way up. And along the way, if you want to burnish it with your bone folder, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, just to make sure you're getting that good contact. Okay, so we just did the back side of it, but I am going to flip it upside down so you can see where we're, so we're going to tuck in the flaps on this side too. Okay, so with my scissors, again, I'm going to come in and make that have a little wedge to it to help it tuck in a little bit. In here, I'm just going to cut off the excess that I have, maybe square it up a little bit. Oops. Come in this way and so that we can tuck it. And trim and trim. So this is about an easiest of a little container as I've ever seen. Everything's put together for you, and all we have to do is wrap it. So I think that's a super fast and sturdy little mini album container. So in here I'm going to squeeze this just a little bit open to tuck in our last two flaps. So again, I'm going to squeeze the roll to kind of open it up and tuck it in. Super cute! Love it, love it, love it. The Tombow gets so sticky. It's a really good adhesive, but it definitely is sticky, and I didn't bring a wet nap to get my hands cleaned off. Okay, so what our next step is we're going to go ahead and we're going to punch 2 holes using the Crop-A-Dile, and I used the smallest circle that you can use to punch it out. So again, I'm going to use the small circle on this one. And I've already punched out my holes in one. And the trick to getting all of the holes evened up is once you get the first set done, take a pin and lay it on top of the other one. Okay, can you see those two little pin marks now that we made? So now I know exactly where I need to punch my crocodile. Make sure I have the right ones, so that it lines up perfectly with the others. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but the mark I made is in the middle of the hole punch. Go ahead and do it the same thing. Okay, found it, and punch. Alrighty, so I've got it on all 3 of these, and my mini album's just going to have 3. You of course could stack these up as as many as what you'd like to make. And I just have book rings. You can find book rings at your local bookstore, I guess, or office supply store. Okay, so there's one in. And look at this other one. It's just kind of nice to be able to recycle things instead of always throwing them away or trying to recycle them. You can kind of repurpose them. Okay, so there's our mini album. And for the tags, what I did is it's 2.5 by 4 1/4, and I rounded the edges. And then I have our modern label punch, or our curly label punch, and I've just punched them out with some coordinating colors of the tags. I'm going to fold it in half, put a little glue stick, open it up and put some glue stick on it. Put this on, center it on the top of our tag. And then, since I've got my crocodile out, now I'm going to use the larger punch for the hole. And this will be what the ribbon goes through so that we can pull it out, pull our little tag out. Then I have some lace ribbon that I'm going to tie through. It's in the very vanilla color that matches the color tones in this little Christmas mini album. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so now we're ready to tuck all of our cards in, and we can put sentiments in there, maybe put a little picture or other Christmas sayings. And of course I'll decorate this all up with ribbon. Okay, so that's our little mini album that's made using toilet paper rolls. Thanks everybody. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.